Stranger Things, Into the Fire.
We open in 1985 with a masked princess trapped in a tower. She's regularly fed medicine to keep the cold away, but she doesn't understand why they can't just turn up the heat. When a crow calls her a good girl for taking her medicine, the princess says, "If I was, I wouldn't be here." But this isn't actually a fairy tale. We'll find out what's really happening soon enough. Cut to Marcy in Boston, trying to live a normal life. She's got school, friends named Sarah and Don, and a crush on a boy named Josh. They're helping her pick out a jacket, and their conversation reveals that Ricky still takes care of her, and that both her friends have a crush on him. When Marcy gets home, she's frustrated to find Ricky's already packed up and ready to leave. It's spring break, and she just wants to be normal for once. But Ricky's got a new lead on 8. Given their past, staying on the move is safer than settling down. Marcy storms off and locks herself in her room, but Ricky eventually convinces her. He's not trying to ruin her life, he's protecting her. Even though Marcy doesn't have powers, she was still part of the program, which makes her dangerous to the people who ran it. Ricky's been in the program since he was a kid, and he knows how it works. If they can't control the kids with powers, they'd rather see them dead. Just like what happened to 6. Francine died so they could escape, which is why they need to help any other survivors now that the lab's shut down. Marcy wants normalcy, but she understands. That night, they load up their van and leave Boston behind. By morning, they're in Hastings Glen, where Ricky works his magic. He walks into the local police station and uses his charm powers on the receptionist, pretending to be a reporter to access case files. He discovers the perpetrators wore Halloween masks, and though the cops don't suspect it, Ricky's pretty sure these were kids connected to 8. The victim was an orderly from Hawkins Lab. Ricky doesn't want to, but he understands why some kids might want revenge. Before he can read more, 2 officers walk in, and he's forced to charm them too and make a quick exit. His nose bleeds from overusing his powers, but he's used to it by now. Back in the car, Ricky tells Marcy everything. They decide to keep tracking 8, and after asking around a few towns, they find her in an abandoned barn. As they approach, one of 8's friends, a guy named Axel, holds them at gunpoint. Ricky uses his powers to calm him down. Axel casually leads them inside to meet 8's gang. The moment 8 sees Marcy, she uses her illusion powers to transform their surroundings into a fantastical forest filled with animals. Everyone's taken aback. Marcy has to break it to 8 that she's not Jamie. Jamie was the one with fire powers who could burn things down. 8 relaxes and explains she thought Marcy was Jamie, which is why she used her powers. She didn't want Jamie burning down the barn. This is when it hits Marcy. Her sister is still alive. Not just alive, but out there somewhere all by herself. We cut back to the masked princess and learned this is actually Jamie. She yearns to escape the tower that traps her, but the tower also keeps her safe. It keeps the world safe from her because she hasn't burned it down yet. The bird in her delusion is actually a small flame she's controlling in her hand. 8, whose real name is Collie, starts telling them everything she knows. The program that promised to save them actually just wanted to use them. The woman who showed up when Francine broke them free was 11's mother. While Ricky and Marcy escaped, everyone else was trapped in the lab facing Brenner's rage. Collie stops here. She doesn't want to say more. Ricky agrees, not wanting this conversation under the eyes of strangers. But Collie trusts her friends, and Marcy is desperate to know about her sister. So Collie reluctantly continues. Marcy thought Jamie was as good as dead. They told her Jamie would never wake up. But that wasn't true. Jamie did wake up, more powerful than ever. That's when Brenner started spinning his web of lies. He told Jamie that Marcy escaped without her, that she abandoned her. This broke Jamie so badly it started affecting her powers and Brenner's experiments. Since Brenner saw the kids as nothing but tools, this was unacceptable. He assigned 8 to take care of Jamie. 8 gave Jamie something to live for by showing her visions of a fantastical fairyland filled with life and light. For once, Jamie was happy. But eventually, cracks appeared. Jamie was powerful, and Callie wasn't. One day when Jamie tried showing her powers to the animals in the vision to keep them warm, Callie got scared and the vision collapsed. Jamie lashed out, almost punching her. The animals were her friends, and she wanted Callie to bring them back. Callie shows this last meeting with Jamie to Marcy and Ricky using her powers. That was the last time she saw her. Callie talks about how the facility broke them all in different ways. 11 suffered the same fate, though she seems to be doing much better now with close friends in Hawkins. Marcy and Ricky are surprised to hear about 11's fate, but they're still desperate to find Jamie. Callie sighs and shows them her collection of Hawkins ID cards. Her gang uses these to track down everyone who wronged her and the other children. Once they find them, they make sure those technicians and doctors can't hurt any more kids. Marcy and Ricky know what this means. They know what it implies. Neither wants to be part of it. When Callie hands over Dr. Morris's card, they quickly take it and part ways. As they leave, Callie invites them to join her gang if they ever want to, but they politely decline without burning bridges. After driving out of town, Ricky stops at a payphone to contact a private detective who can help track down Dr. Morris. Over the next day or two, they wait. Ricky anticipates what's coming, while Marcy is haunted by her past. Through her memories, we learn Brenner's MO was manipulating children, gaslighting them into thinking they were their only salvation. That's exactly what he did with Jamie and Marcy after he rescued them. That's why he allowed Marcy to stay at the facility even without powers. Ricky realizes Marcy's lost in the past and forces them both to enjoy breakfast milkshakes, reminding her she is doing well. Hawkins Lab is gone and she still has a life to live. Meanwhile, Jamie is growing more delirious each day. She hates taking daily medication, and the temptation to use her powers to fix everything grows stronger. This delusion somehow reaches Marcy, because just like Jamie, she wakes up feeling cold the next morning. Ricky tries talking to her about it, but Marcy brushes it off. This is also the day they meet Dr. Morris. Ricky's contact finally got back to them. Hours later, they're outside Morris's house. They ring the bell, hoping for a cordial conversation, but when Morris opens the door, he's already pointing a gun at them. Morris isn't stupid. He knows what's been happening to people who worked at the lab. He's heard about 8 and her gang's crimes. Naturally, he assumes Marcy and Ricky are here to kill him too.
Ricky uses his powers on Morris, and the doctor calms down. But before Ricky can disarm him, Marcy pushes him away, grabs the gun, and holds Morris at gunpoint. She's had enough. Frustrated, angry, and desperate, she says, "You're going to tell me where my sister is, and you're going to tell me now." This outburst shocks even Ricky. He tries calming Marcy down, but she threatens to shoot him too. She's sure Ricky will use his powers on her to fix this, but he assures her he would never do that. Marcy eventually lowers the gun for her sister's sake. That's when Morris starts talking. He's a broken man. Horrible, yes, but broken. He tells Marcy that Jamie was one of their most promising candidates, except she couldn't control her powers just like the others. This led to a lot of deaths. When Brenner assigned 8 to pacify and control her, Morris knew it was the calm before the storm. By then, Morris had been working closely with 9. He was hoping for a breakthrough, but things changed when Brenner decided to focus all resources on 11. 11 had control. She had the strength Brenner needed, so he abandoned all other candidates. To Brenner, the other children were now liabilities. He ordered Morris to take care of 9 himself. Morris was many things: a bad man, a bad doctor, a failed scientist. Many would call him a monster, but even he had limits, lines he wouldn't cross. So instead of killing 9, he secretly placed her in an institutional facility that owed him favors. He personally crafted her medication schedule to keep her sedated indefinitely. This confession doesn't sit well with Marcy. Morris essentially had her sister on a permanent drug-induced trip. But to Morris, this was the best he could do then or now. Ricky intervenes and demands the institution's address. Morris hands it over but warns them about 9. She's volatile, manipulated beyond what her psyche could handle. If neither Brenner, Morris, nor the program could control her, what makes Ricky and Marcy think they can? We switch to Jamie. The temptation to use her powers has reached exponential heights. In her masked illusion, we see her finally giving in. She walks through the tower, but something's changed. On the walls is a mirror, but instead of reflecting Jamie, it shows Marcy. Marcy and Ricky leave Morris's place with the address. They fight and argue on the drive back, but both understand where the other is coming from. Ricky never wanted to hurt Marcy, and she never meant to threaten him. She just wanted to save her sister, and Ricky wants the same. They quickly reconcile. This is when we see Jamie deciding that the image in the mirror is the one she hates. It's the person who set her down this path, who caused all her misery. Jamie punches the mirror. In the real world, she's punched her cell wall, wounding her hand and splattering blood everywhere. A nurse walks in, begrudgingly, but instead of bandaging Jamie's hand, she decides to drug her. But Jamie isn't a princess trapped in a tower anymore. She doesn't need a knight in shining armor to rescue her. She's going to save herself. Before the nurse can drug her, Jamie grabs her hand and sets it on fire. The nurse screams in pain, but Jamie sees this as her chance to escape. As she imagines leaving her tower, she finds a huge wildflower in the woods that needs to be burned down. The magic she feared for so long had become her savior, and there's no backing down now. In reality, Jamie is setting a small paper flower ablaze on a notice board, followed by burning down the entire facility. Before security can catch her, Jamie escapes into the woods. Marcy and Ricky are driving to the facility when they spot fire trucks heading in the same direction. They fear what this means, and upon arrival, their suspicions are confirmed. The entire facility is ablaze, swarming with firemen, police, first responders, and journalists. Jamie is now fleeing through the woods, feeling free for the first time. Though the masked princess smiles in her visions, in reality, Jamie is scared and alone. Ricky uses his powers on the detective in charge to find out what happened. Everyone inside is safe with some injuries, but Jamie, the girl who caused the fire, is missing. He tells Marcy, and she quickly figures out Jamie is likely run into the woods based on what Collie showed them. She forces them to split up, and Ricky reluctantly lets her go on her own. When she's gone, he sarcastically comments that he isn't old enough to deal with teenagers. Marcy runs through the woods, screaming Jamie's name, hoping to finally reunite with her sister while haunted by their memories. Jamie, meanwhile, has picked up a stick and set it ablaze. To the masked princess in her delusions, this is her weapon, a channel for her powers, a way to save herself. That's when Marcy stumbles upon her, but instead of reconciling, Jamie swats the burning stick at her and screams, "You're the one! You did this! I won't let you hurt me again!" Marcy, still on the ground, begs her sister to realize who she is. She's Marcy, her twin, her sister, her only family. But Jamie can't be reasoned with. To the masked princess, her reflection in the mirror is trying to trap her again. The reflection wants her to give in. Jamie won't do that anymore, so she swats the flaming stick at Marcy again and again. Before she can deal the final blow, Ricky shows up and shoots the stick right out of her hand using Morris's gun. He puts out the flames while asking if Marcy is okay. That's when Marcy lashes out at him, leaving Ricky extremely puzzled. What did he do wrong? He was just saving Marcy, the only family he had left. Marcy makes him realize that Jamie is family too. She is, and always has been, part of their family. Their argument brings Jamie momentarily back to reality. Though Ricky is still apprehensive, Marcy persuades him this is the only way. Only she can bring Jamie back and save her. So she reaches out to her sister again. This time, the masked princess hesitates because the reflection in the mirror speaks of her sister. It speaks like her sister and wants to save her. But the masked princess also knows this is the reflection that abandoned her. It's why she wears a mask and hates her face. Little do they know, the stick was only a tool. The real power lies within her. Jamie conjures a fireball. Ricky instantly reacts, but Marcy forces him to stand down. That's when Marcy confesses to Jamie that it was wrong to abandon her sister, wrong to never check in and find out what became of her. But now that they're here, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Though Marcy hates herself as much as Jamie hates her for the abandonment, she's still happy to see her sister alive and well. She begs Jamie to come back to her. Instead of using her powers for destruction, the masked princess uses them to melt the glass. Jamie removes her mask, gives up being the masked princess, and walks into the mirror to reunite with her reflection, her sister. They hug. Though Ricky hates interrupting this moment, he reminds Marcy why they need to leave immediately. The next day, Marcy and Jamie are sleeping soundly in a motel. But something haunts Ricky. While his sisters sleep, he walks away and drives to Morris's home. He takes out Morris's gun and aims it at Morris. But this is just a prank. Instead of shooting the doctor, Ricky returns his gun. But this isn't the end. Ricky has seen what became of Jamie, what the program did to her. The same program Morris was a part of for years. Ricky isn't letting this go. Though Morris may have done some good, it doesn't erase his past or make up for his crimes. Ricky uses his powers, makes Morris realize the monster he is, and asks him to do what needs to be done to atone for his sins. Ricky is beyond angry. Blood from his nose is smeared across his face. But this man wronged his sisters. This man is part of why they are so damaged, and he can't let it go. After using his powers, Ricky simply leaves. As he walks back to his car, we hear a gunshot in the background. Morris has shot himself. This is the thing about trauma. It doesn't get destroyed. It doesn't go away. It just gets passed from one person to another. Jamie may have been saved. She may have finally stopped being the masked princess, but Ricky carries that burden now. Seeing Jamie that way, the twin sister of the girl he saved all those years ago, the girl Francine promised to keep safe, broke Ricky.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Stranger Things comics, hit that like button and subscribe to Geek Force for more comic breakdowns. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What comic should we cover next? Until then, we'll see you in the next one.